Welcome
to
Seizing
Valor.
where
We
Discover
God's
Path
for
manhood
One
conversation
at.
time. I'm Josh.
I'm Joe.
And I'm Zack.
All right.
And we just did that.
That was good.
I didn't like that one bit.
I thought that was amazing. I hope everyone listening agrees with us and not with Joe.
They're gonna be so confused. Like, what is? Their attention will be focused because of that.
Yeah. It's different, Joe. Come on. We got to mix it up a little bit sometimes. Josh is back, everybody. Josh is back.
I'm back. My crazy week, which I will be talking about eventually, is over. Has come to an end, and now I'm starting afresh.
For those listening, this will be coming out actually the week after Thanksgiving. But for us, we are about to head into Thanksgiving. So it'll be kind of like just keeping it real simple, but maybe we'll even be talking about some different twists on gratitude and thankfulness. Let's just talk about our weeks instead. So, Josh, do you actually want to go first since you've got a fortnight to talk about?
Sure. Yeah. We're working on a Christmas album. So the album is called For His Glory, and our band name is Claire and Josh. So it's like the and sign. I don't know what you call the and sign, but it's Claire and Josh. You can find it on all platforms, like I said, and I'm happy to share with you. We'll just do like 30 seconds here, maybe, of like our version of O Come O Come Emmanuel, especially now that I guess would be in the Advent season right now.
We would almost, I think, be in Advent.
Almost, right? Because it's the last weekend, so not quite.
So this coming Sunday will be the start of Advent
Sunday
for everyone listening.
So O Come O Come Emmanuel, the preparation for the season of Advent. We'll do 30 seconds of that, and with our logo. And you can find it, like I said, on all those platforms, and you can support us directly on our website, especially by buying a CD. That's probably way more than just streaming, but just to help us so we can continue to do this, because it'd be nice to just keep improving the quality, and then we'll just, even for like licensing, and to do other cover songs or whatever. But yeah, appreciate you. Thank you for the time, and hope you enjoy it.
Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come thou day spring, come and cheer our spirits by thine advent.
Because he's an amazing singer. We've heard some of the samples. He's awesome. And his bride too, wonderful singer. Amazing.
Yeah, she's the one, yeah. And yeah, it's completely produced in-house. We did everything, did all the artwork, all of the music, all of everything. And so yeah, and we're super proud of it. It's one of the best things we've ever done. So I'm really excited for people to listen to it and to share it around. Oh, and also, this is another really big thing. I'm sorry I'm talking so much, but
it's just like 2 weeks worth of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, there's just so much that was happening. So I had a heart monitor put on. I talked to you guys about this.
Mm-hmm.
So it was basically just like a test, just to see because I'm having some little bit of flutters and stuff. But so I had to wear that for 10 days. So I wore that for 10 days. So literally I have this big machine that's just like taped and glued to my chest. And that made everything awful. I couldn't exercise. Sleeping was like impossible. Like it was just like this kind of a rough thing I had to deal with for 10 days. I couldn't shower, so I had to like sponge myself, and like I had to I would wash my hair in the sink, and it was rough, man. It was a rough time. In the midst of all of these other things that are happening, I also had to deal with this. And then I had a couple tests that I had to go to, but luckily I heard back from them pretty quick, and everything's fine. Everything looks good.
Great.
I just have to hear back about if I have an arrhythmia or something, but I think I'm okay. I think it's all good.
But we'll be there. Everybody listening too, send your prayers our boy's way.
Yeah.
So
good stuff. Who's next?
I can go. Okay, so this past week, kind of starting off on a similar note. So like Josh, there's an update in the medical world of Zack, because Zack has also been dealing with some problems as well. So I think, I don't remember if I talked about in the last episode that I had like certain tests I had to do. Like I had to do an EMG, which was ridiculous. They like shock your muscles and they have they pulse and all that stuff, and it's crazy weird. And that was all good. That was 2 weeks ago.
Makes you like tense up, right? The EMG, like
yeah. So like they attach they have a little thing that they just like press against your nerves, and then like they'll send like a shock and
triggers
like,
it.
Yeah, but then they'll like turn it up into. It's like some of them I was like, it looked like he was just like, no, not satisfied with that. Turn it up. No, not good enough still. As my whole arm is just like flailing. I'm like, when's it gonna be good? And I thought that was like, it was weird because then the tech would talk to me. The weirdest thing was that he said, it's like, oh yeah, us techs, we do this stuff to each other all the time. Like, what? It's like, well, we want to know what it feels like if we're going to do it to you. Like, we want to make sure. And it's like, sure. It's like, all right, guys, you got 10 minutes free. Who's getting on the table? Like,
okay.
But then after that, like the actual doctor then does like, they stick like a needle in your muscles, like an acupuncture needle, not like a thick needle, like a shot needle, but like a thinner needle. But like you put it in your muscle, and then that sends a current through your muscles, and it almost feels like you're going to cramp, like that feeling. And like, he's trying to talk to me while I'm doing it, and I know why he's doing it. He's not doing it because he's interested. He's doing it to distract me.
Yeah.
But like, I'm trying to answer at the same time. I'm like, It's like, so what do you do for a living? I'm in youth ministry. He's like,
Nice.
So, but anyway, that was 2 weeks ago. So this week, I was being seen for different things. So I had been experiencing what, I would, as a layperson, would call dizziness. But I know it's not dizziness because it's not like the room feels like it's spinning or anything, or I feel like I'm spinning or I'm feeling nauseous. So just like the ground under my feet feels like unstable or like it's moving. So I didn't know what to call that though. So like a few months ago, I had gone to like an urgent care and they just thought it was vertigo. So they just prescribed me like antihistamines to try to take care of that. But it didn't really get any better. So I got a referral to a balance center. So like usually sometimes physical therapists, they have like a separate thing that's like the balance therapy. So I go to them. And so I found out through a lot of tests, a lot of simple tests, like they found out that what I actually have is what's called disequilibrium. So as kind of described, like vertigo is like when the room spins, like, whereas disequilibrium is like when you don't, like you can't, you can't find your balance, like your center, like, so like especially your head, like you can't find your position in space for some reason. So apparently the way your, what did they call it? It's not your nervous system. It's your, I don't remember. But anyway, your system that provides balance, it has a fancy name. So it works via 3 like systems. So you have your eyes, you have your inner ears, and then you have like little like nodes like in your joints. And all 3 of them work together to like provide information to your brain to like say, hey, like this is where you are in space, and like this is where your head should be, and like that type of thing. So when one of them kind of goes wonky, then like the information that gets fed like kind of contradicts itself. So then that's when you feel that uneasiness. So apparently they found out it's my inner ears that are having some issues. So like I'm having some, and it's just like, and they tested me for vertigo, which is weird. Have you guys ever known like the way they test for vertigo? They like literally put these insane, like huge, like goggles. It almost looks like a VR headset. They like put it on your face and it has cameras inside. And so what then they do is they like lay you back and move your head around and stuff. And they look to see how your eyes move as you do it. And it'll tell them like whether you have like crystals loose for like, which is what causes vertigo, which is crazy, which is insane. It's all,
like maybe a month ago or 2 months ago, I had vertigo for like a day, but Claire, she was at work, and when she came home, I like told her I was having the symptoms or whatever, and she like knew how to take care of it. There was like this thing that I'm supposed to do. I laid on the ground and then put my like legs up and turned. And then like smack back down, and then it just fixed it. It was gone. Like it was this weird little move that I made, and I was fine. I was like, this is so cool. Like I didn't know I could just fix it like that.
Yeah,
sorry,
because it's like something about your crystals being loose, and you just kind of like jam them back into where they're supposed to go or something.
Right.
So, which is kind of what I was wishing was wrong with me, because it's as you said, like a quick fix, but mine is more of a. So apparently, what happened? So they do a bunch of tests, and which is crazy with balance center stuff, because they don't even really need to ask you. because they just have you do certain things and they just look at your body and how it reacts and they can tell. And like, especially with your eyes, like if your eyes, like as you're trying to do certain things, like slip like a little bit, then like they know you're having balance problems. Like, so it was crazy. But anyway, so mine's more of like, it's like a muscle that needs to be like re-strengthened. So it's like weak, it's been damaged or weakened or whatever reason. And it needs to be like reworked to like reorient it. So I have to do a lot of exercises to try to like, so essentially that takeaway that I have to do without like with my eye, I have to like close my eyes, and sometimes I have to stand on like uneven surfaces because it takes the other two things away. So it forces my inner ears to like be the load bearer, so that then they can get like trained up again. So it's really crazy. Like, I mean, and they make me walk on like with my eyes closed and like on like, it's nuts. Like for people who don't know that this is a thing, like it's crazy to find out. So that was the medical portion. And then over the weekend, I went to Scranton again. Cue groans from like the entire listening audiences, because it's like he always goes to Scranton. Thought he left that place. So we had Friendsgiving at our friend's house, which was really awesome. Our friend Ross the boss at his home. And it was really, really good. There was a lot of people there. We had a really good time. We played lots of games. Have you guys ever played the game Telestrations before?
No.
So it's like a mixture of telephones, like the game of telephone, you like pass the message, and then Pictionary. So essentially what you do is you have like a pad. So you start with your pad and you have like a secret word. So you write your word and then you try to draw a picture of your word. And then you pass it to the next person. That person has to guess what it is.
Yeah, I've done that.
And then they pass it to the next person who has to then draw what they guess. And then like they just
and then
keep
you
going.
like look at it at the beginning, and that's the funny,
Yeah, and like no one ever gets it right, but it's hilarious.
That's great. It's a fun game, yeah.
And then we also played. You guys remember playing Werewolf?
Of course.
Back in Big House.
Yeah.
Offshoot of Mafia.
Yes. So anybody listening, it's very much like the game Mafia. You know, the hidden like, you know, you're doing the role playing with the hidden killers and you have to like find out who's the one who's secretly killing people and all that stuff. Very fun. So we played with a big group of people. Really got me like good old fashioned college vibes, which was really good, which was really needed because I was having actually quite a really bad day on Saturday before that because like the head stuff was like messing with me a lot. So, but it was very good. And yeah, on Sunday I just kind of had a nice chill out day to like catch up on stuff, which I really, really, really needed. So
nice.
So that's essentially been my week.
It's been quite a ride.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me.
It seems to have been the theme for all of us. It's like, wow, it has been a ride.
I'm not as talkative as before just because like I feel like I'm experiencing whiplash, metaphorically speaking, of course. But I just had like quite a load of paperwork. People have been like moving to other places as far as work goes, which is just horrible programmatically speaking. So kind of like you got to pick up the legwork as far as like who is still there. But as far as like really fun stuff goes, I had my sister, my mom, and my niece visit me. I hosted them. We had some lunch here, right here, this place, this apartment. And it kind of like happened spur of the moment. I really didn't need to clean up anything because I did it the weekend before that. Really great time. What else did I do? I was going to go see the new Black Panther with other people, but I needed like a Joe rest day. It was kind of in order. I kind of would like that, like more of those.
We'll take
plus, I didn't really feel like seeing the new Black Panther anyway. Then I played bass for church, which was awesome. Played like the Rickenbacker bass. Josh, you would know that. It's like my favorite sounding bass. It just has like such a distinct sound. Yeah, it was so nice to play that for the first time on worship team. But for another medical thing, that happened 2 weeks ago, I failed to mention. I actually got ear impressions. I went to the audiologist and they took like molds of my ears because I plan to get in-ear monitors, and what those are is when you're on stage, you would get like specific custom molded so they don't like fall out. It's basically like you can hear what's going on stage.
You can hear yourself, yeah,
without
hear
like
others around you. Yeah.
hmm and it's really cool. I got it like in this box right here. I still have to mail it out. Yeah, but I'm excited to get those when if I get the time to send this out.
It's,
There was no medical follow-up to that? I thought that was going to turn into a bad story. And then I found out my ears have problems.
No, my ears don't have problems at all.
and then it got stuck in my ear, and now I have a plastic ear. So
Every time I talk about like, oh, Seizing Valor, and I explain like what it is to other people, run a Christian podcast. Like people are genuinely interested. So I don't know. It's a blessing to have to share this. Speaking of blessing, I'm gracious. I'm so happy and thankful.
gratitudinous.
Gratuitous.
We're going to be talking about what we are thankful for.
We've presented ourselves with the challenge that we are going to name something that we are thankful for this year that is a little unorthodox in terms of, at first we thought it was a bad thing, but then it eventually turned into a good thing, or it led to good things, or something like that. So we are going to talk about something that appears not to be bad, but we are actually thankful for one reason or another. Or isn't that right, gents?
Yeah.
All right. So who wants to go first?
Zach, you go ahead. You go ahead.
Okay. All right. I'll go. Okay. Thankful essentially that earlier this year I had an anxiety attack. For a lot of reasons. Mostly because like the short version is, but I will expand, is that anxiety attack led to me facing a lot of stuff, or addressing a lot of things, or like actually encountering a lot of things, thinking about things. So backstory for those who, I don't remember if I mentioned this in the previous podcast or if I elaborated on this, but probably around in March, when I had thought I was going to law school and I was kind of deciding where to go at that moment, I was experiencing a few health things at that time, this stuff that I'm dealing with now. But kind of in the midst of all of that, I had an anxiety attack that I didn't know was an anxiety attack, like most people who don't, the first time they have an anxiety attack, because no one wants to say, hey, I have an anxiety, but like, and you don't really know, because it really is, it like feels like a heart event, and it is manifested in your heart, but like it's not like it's not like a heart attack, it's not like going to kill you or anything. So I ended up having to go to the emergency room, and I got addressed and everything, and eventually I found out it was an anxiety attack. But I'm thankful because it really made me address a lot of things I was either pushing to the side or bottling up, or like I didn't want to think about, or I was thinking about in the wrong way. I mean, like a few things, for example, that I feel comfortable at least with sharing is that I'm a guy who's kind of a little obsessive about health sometimes, at least in the sense of like, I'm always thinking that I have something wrong with me, or like I have some sort of illness, or that I have to get rid of something, or if like I ever have an illness, I like get overly worked up about it. There were times where I was like, I mean, when I was really bad, when I was really younger, I was slightly germophobic. I got over that, but like it manifested itself in other ways later. So I was very obsessive about health. And so I kind of had to encounter that, because now this had turned into a thing about my health. So I had to encounter that, and I'm still working on that. But like I kind of realized that like desire for like health perfection was like not good for me, and that it was actually what was causing a lot of anxiety in me. So, and about learning to accept that imperfection and learning how to not grasp after life so much. I think I learned that I was grasping after life, grasping after like in an unhealthy way, like after comfort, things like that, like realized I was like grasping after those things like obsessively, and I needed to kind of let that stuff go a little bit and put that more in God's hands. But so there was this idea is I feel like I have so much, so that was one thing I had anxiety about. There's a bunch of other stuff that was on top of that, like ways that my decision making and things like that, I was not, I was getting obsessed over decision making, like I was, and over making perfect decisions to the point I was making myself extremely anxious. So like that was like where the law school thing came in, and I was like, I was being paralyzed by fear of picking, because I didn't want to pick wrong and thinking like I had to pick right, or like things would fall apart, or like terrible things would happen to me or something like that. Like almost, I guess in a way that was like a borderline superstitious of like, oh, if I don't pick the right thing, then all the bad stuff's going to happen to me. And then, so I had to kind of address that too. And once again, there's more stuff behind the psychology, but also number two about the anxiety is that I think it gave me a lot greater empathy for people. I will admit that I was kind of borderline about mental health. Like I was kind of borderline in terms of my feelings about it. Like I didn't think it wasn't a thing. Like I knew it was a thing, but I don't think I put as much stock into it as I should have, or my empathy for those people dealing with it. And now that I've experienced this, I feel a lot more empathy and I understand more, which I think has been good for me in a lot of ways, especially in like my ministry and things like that, for me to be able to understand, especially young people who are dealing with anxiety a lot. I understand now, and like I get it. And that has, I had another thought that went along with that, and it slightly went off the course. Like, I mean, like the idea is like, I know the value of therapy now. Like I do that stuff. It kind of forced me in a way to get, and also like this idea, like I realized too, that I was not as alone in it as I thought. Like a lot of people I know, like I found out deal with anxiety, like that I did not know. Like I didn't know that they did, and I won't say who they are here, but like a lot of people were dealing with it. More people I think were dealing with anxiety that I knew than people who weren't. And so it was like, oh, like I am really not alone in this. So that made me comfortable with that, but also made me feel comfortable with sharing other things about myself that I thought I needed to keep bottled up because I needed to have this like perfect appearance. Which like one of the things like we talked about in the pornography episode, like, this idea that I struggled with that, like, I don't think I would have been willing to share that on a podcast had like this not happened to me, because I wasn't willing to let people see my imperfections. And now I'm like a lot more open to that, which has made me feel better, like a lot better. But then it made me like really think about my law school decision. And it actually made me second guess it, which actually led me to finding out that's not what I should have been doing, which now led me to my current job, which I like much better. So that was a benefit. Like had I not had that anxiety attack, I would have just kept going with the path that I was on and not really caring like what the result was. It kind of forced me to like move on. Like I was already moving on from like my past life, but it like kind of accelerated that process a little bit of like getting out of Scranton, getting a different job. So it helped me kind of encounter that, helped me really dig into my spiritual life. Cause like at the time that I had the panic attack, and I didn't, now it seems really dramatic when I look at it, but like at the time I didn't know it was a panic attack. I really thought I was having a heart episode. And like I had to kind of encounter a little bit my own mortality in that moment. And I was like, there were so many things that kind of came to mind of like, I need to address this, like stuff in my spiritual life too. Like just like, this thing is left undone and I haven't done it. Like if I feel like there were certain things I feel like I wish I had more time to handle that. And so like it took a while, but after like I found out it was better, like it took a few months, but like a lot of the things I did decide to give in and address and like look at, and which I won't necessarily share here because they're kind of private, but there are things I had to like face. I had to like look at, and I had to resolve, and or things I had to give to God. And I realized I wasn't giving a lot to God before the panic attack. And now I'm like, at least trying to give more, even though I wouldn't say I'm perfect. So there's those things. I think before my panic attack, I was kind of in a place I didn't like in terms of who I was. Like I felt like I was far less people focused than I had been in the past. I was like so much more focused on like my like fulfillment through my job, or like the stuff I was doing, or even just material things, and like or entertainment. Like I was like focusing on way too many other things and not enough on people, and like finding fulfillment in people and in God. And like I think I was able to revert through then the panic attack, then therapy, and like other things. I've been able to kind of reverse that, and like spiritual direction and things. I've been able to like reverse that a little bit and get back to more of what I want to be, or I think I should be. That, and finally, it's kind of like set a spiral of me like looking into certain health things that has been good in the sense that it's like given me peace of mind to know it's like, oh, like I don't have this. Oh, I don't have that. Like, I like there's more things being uncovered that's like, oh yeah, Zach, that's not your problem. But then like kind of getting to this point right now, it's like, oh yeah, you're having ear problem. Like, you know, like who would have known? I would have never known that I was having an ear problem, like had not some of this stuff happened. And anyway, so that very long story short, I'm thankful for what the panic attack has led to. I wasn't thankful for it in the moment because it was terrible, but I'm thankful that as God gave me an outward sign that I was not where I was supposed to be, and my body knew it, and it made in my soul and my mind, and I needed to make changes, and I needed to do different things, and I actually kind of needed to let go a little bit, because in that moment I was so anxious because I was trying to take a stranglehold of my destiny or of my like
Right.
of my future, of like, I need to go to law school to do this thing. And then as soon as I let all of that go, I ended up where I am. Like I didn't even, I like tried, like in terms of I applied and everything to get this job, but like it kind of fell into my lap. Like God gave it to me. I didn't like wrestle it out of his fingers. So anyway, in that sense, it has been a very hard year, but I think I've grown a lot because of it. So that is why I am thankful that I had an anxiety attack early this year. So
Yeah, and thank you, Zach. That's really great.
Yeah.
And I just want to like affirm you and encourage you, because you're such an awesome guy.
Mm.
And I know like this stuff is hard, and it's really
Mm.
tough when it's in that kind of realm, in that world. But I think just the fact that you're going outward is like such a good thing, you know, like
Mhm.
talking about it and like trying to, you know, have those discussions and reaching out. And I think that's beautiful. And that's something that I really respect about you, is like your ability to just like love and like go outward and see other people and share.
thank
So
you.
yeah, man.
And so for
And
everybody listening, like kind of
Go
take
ahead.
that to heart a little bit, of this idea is like, don't hold it in, like let it out, like let it out somehow, some way. And also realize your suffering can unite you to other people and not separate you. We kind of talked about that during the pornography episode, but don't isolate yourself because of it. Like find a way to unite yourself with other people. But anyway, Josh, you were saying, sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to say too that like I feel you. I feel you. I was someone my entire life who was like, mental illness is a joke. Like people just need to be tougher. They need to be stronger. Like that. This is just people just weak. And now, especially this year that I've had, it's like I feel it too. Like
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
the stuff that's been going on with my heart and all that. Like I'm 98% sure it's just anxiety. And I've never thought I would be someone who would like have these struggles, but like I'm with you there. And especially with health stuff, like as soon as I started getting anything going on, and because I went through a long time where I didn't have any benefits, so it was like there was some things that were going on that I was worried about, and so I was sharing with Claire, and like we can't do anything about this because I can't go to the doctors. And so there was like this length of time where it's like there could be something seriously wrong, so it was just this heavy burden that was just laying over us, you know, because then I couldn't do anything about it. And so we were just panicking for so long because like, what if something serious? Like, what if I have this? What if I have that? Like all this stuff. And then just because of that, it's like a negative feedback loop where like the more stressed you are, the worse it gets, and then the worse it gets, and then the worse it gets. And then eventually it just pops, you know. And that's what happened with me. So I feel that too. It's been, this year was, I think we all can say this year's been tough. And it's obviously since COVID, like everything's just been so difficult. And I feel like a lot of people are really honestly struggling, and they are dealing with anxiety in different you know, forms. And I would say I'm there too, man. I'm there too.
Yeah.
Just yesterday, I had like an episode where I was like sitting at my in-laws' house and my kids were running around screaming, and I was really stressed about having to come back. I had to leave home to go home to practice, to set up the house for a band practice. And I was thinking about how I need to get a job and I have to support my family, and my wife is working too much and my mother-in-law does too much. And it was just this massive amount. My mind was racing. And I was just like, like inside I was exploding, and I had to leave. So I like dramatically left the house, and I had to go for a walk, and I called my mom, and it was just like, I'm freaking out right now. And so I feel that. And I've never once like, so I'm with you there. The whole empathy and all that. Cause I've always been a hard person towards that stuff. But like the past couple of years, I'm just like, aching for people, and
I had a similar thing
feeling
to
it
you.
too.
I had a similar thing to you as well, Josh.
Mhm.
In August, I feel you there, and I couldn't really explain it too because I'm still kind of processing the situation too. I was just really pissed off that a lot of things weren't like going my way, and overall, like I just didn't really want to be around like too many people in that moment. So I kind of dramatically left in that moment too, and it almost seemed like a total 180 from the way that I usually act, which in the gathering that I was with at the time, people were just like, well, where did that come from?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just get there sometimes.
It's pent up stuff, and that's
Mhm.
the issue with me is like I don't share things as much as I should, and
Yeah.
or like not as often as I should. And just as a result, it just builds up and builds up and builds up, and then something happens, and then it's just like I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just thank you so much for sharing that and talking
Yeah,
about
thanks,
it.
Zack.
And
Thank you, guys. And thank you for your affirmation and for your sharing too. I really appreciate that. So it's
so I would say pretty much the same thing as you, to be honest, Zach. What I'm thankful for this year is just how difficult the year was. So I'm a big proponent of like I love to like have a word for the year, and I'm really big on resolutions. So like all year long, I reflect on it. And so my word that I chose at the beginning of this year was refine, like refinement,
Mhm.
and like the Lord knew, he like took that word, and like just a couple of months ago, I was really reflecting on everything that's kind of happened, and like I was thinking about refining and like what has to happen for things to get refined, and like it has to go through fire, and it has to be there has to be struggle, there has to be brokenness, and things to melt and the impurities to be burned away in order for things to shine. And honestly, that's what's happened. Like this year was like probably one of the hardest years I've had in a long time, just in the sense of not finding work and just the pressures of the world and all of that regard, just feeling like a complete deadbeat husband who is relying on my wife to bring the money home, and here I am just tinkering with things in the studio and hoping to make a living out of it, like, and just having a job and then losing it, and then serious depression. I lost my grandfather to cancer, and like it was just like this is insane, blow after blow after blow after blow every year, and like, but all of that to say that I know that the Lord is using all of these things to make me stronger and more prepared for what's ahead.
Mhm.
Because you have to have that. You need to suffer. You need to have the struggles, because every single struggle you have just makes you stronger on the other side. When my grandfather passed away, it like drew me closer to my family. It brought me back home, because I was someone for the longest time where like I didn't really communicate with my family much,
Mhm.
and like even my mom, like I wouldn't really talk to her that much. But now since then, I've been calling her like every week, and it's been so great to just keep her in the loop, just to discuss with her and to talk with her, and I've just realized the importance of like relationships and people. Because you guys know me, I'm a very introverted person. So like oftentimes I don't want people around, especially if I'm upset or if I'm struggling. Like I just completely shut down.
Mm.
I go into depression mode. I just want to play video games and play guitar, and that's it. I want to eat and drink, and that's it. Like nothing else. But of course, the isolation just makes everything worse. And I'm starting to realize that like I have to go outward. I have to share. I have to be vulnerable. I have to be open and through the struggles and the difficulty, because that's the only way that you can find healing. So that was huge for me for this year. And so yeah, I mean, all that to say, like, refinement has been happening. You have to go through fire in order to shine.
yeah.
So I'm thankful for how hard this year was, because I know it's gonna damn well prepare me for next year, and come what may.
I totally get you, man. Like I feel the exact same way. Like, this year has been really, really hard. Everyone's talking about 2020, and I'm like, 2022 killed me. Like
this was a hard year.
2020
Yeah.
wasn't really that bad for me personally, but like 2022 has been
Right now,
insane.
yeah.
But you're right, and like kind of on that same tone, like this idea of like when you're in the midst of it, and definitely when I was at the beginning, it was like, God, just lay off. Like I'm like, I can't take this. And like, but at the same time, he knows we can take it. And like, as you said, like he wouldn't be testing us with such things, or like if he didn't have something big planned. Like he's refining us, and I actually feel that a lot too, as like you kind of said. Like I feel like I'm being molded and changed like through all of this into like someone better than I was, or like as I kind of alluded on, someone better, like someone closer to what I want to be, and like what I want to be. Even my attitudes about different things are different, I think. And as you said, I mean, I kind of gave out. I am definitely somewhat extroverted, but now it's like growing a little bit more. But like I even was kind of like you. There were times I did not want to be around people. Like I just didn't want to. Like I just wanted to put it all out. Like I would be like, you know, very, very sociable around other people, but then like it's like, okay, I need to get away. Like, but anyway, like this idea of like not keeping people at arm's length and things like that. But anyway, sorry. So what I like embrace about like that thing you're talking about, like this like refinement and like the forge and like the going through fire, is that like especially even in metalwork, like things aren't made instantaneously, like they're made over time. And I know so much of me in all the bad times just wanted the instant fix. Yeah. But we know, and we've discussed on here before, is that doesn't make you different. Like if, you know, the quick fixes don't change you, they don't make you grow. And, you know, when suffering is long, it can change you for the better. Like God can use that to make long lasting change, not just short temporary change, but he's digging your roots deep so you can get ready for what's ahead. And so, yeah, I really appreciate that testimony, Josh, because that's like that I think you're hitting the nail on the head.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And I think the evolution, you can see it over time, and just how the Lord works in the midst of all of that. Because I would say I'm so different than the man that I was at even the beginning of this year. Just as a result, just like what I was saying, the way that I love and the way that I see and the way that I lean on people. Because before it's like I had to have it all together, like what you're saying. Like I need to have this. People need to know that like I'm okay, or like they need to know that like everything's fine, when deep down I'm falling apart, like I'm miserable. And I started realizing that like that pressure is, you don't need to have it. You don't need to bear that burden. Like people are in your life who, like, there's people who love you and care about you, and they want to hear this stuff. They want to know, like, just even my wife, just Claire, like, not telling her what's going on with me, like it harms her, you know. And just because if I'm fallen, she's fallen. And so that was a big part of it too, just confronting my wife and saying what's going on and how I'm feeling, and being vulnerable with her and letting her know how I am, has really benefited our relationship. It's really helped our marriage, and you know, the support that we have for one another. And yeah, I would say all of my relationships have just blossomed immensely over this year. Like I think about you guys, like, you know, this year was where it all kind of came together. I mean, honestly, Zach, like with you, you know, we haven't talked that much since college. Yeah. But now it's like you're like one of my best friends again, and like I'm so happy to have you in my life, and to be able to talk with you about these things, and to share this with you. And of course, you, Joe, you've been alongside me for a long time, but so it's just so great that, you know, I have this now, just because I'm willing to have you in my life. You know? Like I'm inviting you into my brokenness so we can share and together, you know.
Yeah, ditto, Josh. Like I know I'm very thankful that we got this, because I agree. I think we've gotten a lot closer as friends, like through this, and I'm super thankful for that, because yeah, that's something I've wanted for a while, and I think that this has definitely done the trick. And I think, as you said, I think that idea that all three of us probably have gotten to a point where we've been knocked down to the point where we're willing to be vulnerable, and like willing, and that's kind of like where true friendship is bred, is in the vulnerability. And I've definitely found that out, because trying to be perfect actually separates you from people more than it unites you to people, because everyone realizes deep down that they're not. So yeah. So, but anyway, I'm so thankful. So thank you, Josh. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
I'm so glad you're here.
Hey, Joe, go ahead, man.
So Joe, where's your heart-to-heart spinach?
So that's really interesting that you brought up like that need to be perfect and stuff like that. My word of the year at the beginning of 2022, like Josh, his was yours was refine, mine was intentional. So the way that I saw that at the beginning of last year, I found it as something that I should continue to seek as many opportunities as I could, just do, which has tremendous benefits, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, you kind of get lost in that do, like grinding mentality until you realize like, where did time go and what actually did I get from it, you know? And I struggle with a lot of patience. And I think this all like came about December of 2021. I actually slipped and fell in my work parking lot. I don't know if I told you guys this.
Yeah,
I slipped and fell.
right.
Got workers' comp. Had to go to the emergency room. Fell right on my back. Everything was fine. It was just contusion, just bruising. But you know, I was about to go with the prescription order to go into the Walgreens after talking with a few coworkers, my sister included, and I was about to get the painkillers, and I was like, after hearing the counsel of all those people, should I actually have this? Do I actually need this, or would ibuprofen and just rest and ice be fine? Because there's a lot of like stuff laced in to painkillers, as we know of now. So I didn't take those, just threw out the prescription, and I took that. And that actually led me to seeking out other opportunities, such as chiropractic care. And right now, after I went in February of 2022, this year, all the way up until now, my spine is 95% straight. My neck is perfect compared to what it was when I had my first x-ray in February. So I don't know, just listening and being a little bit more patient, which is something that I struggle with quite a lot. This horrible thing that happened to me and probably affected my neck too, back in December of last year. I'm reaping the benefits right now. And I don't really like to listen to the counsel of other people when it kind of messes with my original worldview. Initially, I have to like think a lot and have to have a lot of patience. And I guess it's those two things, information overload and processing that. It led me to being a little bit more health conscious. I mean, I'm a very healthy guy as is, but it just gave me a lot of new sense of perspective, like highly toxic food, like spinach and beets and seed oils, which are horrible for us. Celery is horrible for us, as compared to stuff like, well, I've been having a lot more like venison and organ meats and stuff like that, stuff that's like soy free. Basically, at anything that's inside, like when you go to a grocery store, anything that's not outside, like the outside, like you, or like oval of like what a supermarket is. Anything inside, like, is everything outside is fair game. Get that, but inside, like, stay away from that, because that is just something that you should. And that just like blew my mind.
So Whole Foods. It's a whole food diet.
Yeah.
Not always. I'll explain more off camera.
No spinach or celery. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
I never heard
that. I'll tell more of that in a little bit, because it actually increases your risk of sunburn. But but back to like the intentionality sake, I kind of want to hone in that a little bit more. Me seeking like so many opportunities is great, but at the same time, I almost like turn on autopilot, and I don't really realize until like almost it's too late. Not that I'm like burnt out, but I don't realize like I'm actually really, really tired from the amount of things that like I took on. So I'm really thankful for those quiet moments.
Yeah, that rest
those
is
quiet
really
moments
important.
with God.
Yeah, that rest.
Mhm. God gave you a day for it for a reason.
Totally. Totally.
Well,
All right, man. Well, thank you.
thank you, Joe. Yeah, thank you, Joe. So there you have it, everybody. I mean, as you can tell, all of us had struggles this year. But like St. Paul says, we're even grateful in our struggles, and they bring us
Power
closer
is
to
made
God.
perfect. Yeah, power is made perfect in weakness, right?
Mm-hmm. We must be being perfected quite a lot. Not as much as some other people, of course, I'm sure, but for us, these things were big and they were huge and it was rough, but God made so much good out of them. And they do say time heals all things, but I mean, time also gives perspective, and I think time gave us all perspective, that we look back and we see that thing was terrible and God hated it just as much as we hated it, but he made good out of it, and he gave us what we needed, in our own ways. So for everybody listening, like, we challenge you to look similarly this Thanksgiving. Look back on your year. I mean, for most people, these past few years have been hard. Like, since COVID, everyone's had like a hard time at some point. So we challenge you to look back, look at some of those hard things, and look at yourself now and see if there's something you can be thankful for in that. And see if there is some sort of change that you maybe didn't realize before, or like something that's like, oh, I wouldn't have done this had this not happened or that not happened, or everything's a chain of events, and God's in charge of that chain of events. So like, really look back at that and see, can I be thankful for something in the midst of this hard time that I had? So,
All right.
and as always, just be thankful for all the simple things in your life and for all the people, because as we all pointed out, people are where it's at. So I'm thankful for you two gents.
Yeah.
This is how you're oriented on my screen. It probably is not on the recording screen, but
Zach, Josh.
there you go.
Joe. Zack.
So I'm thankful for you gents. I'm thankful for this podcast and what it's done. And I'm thankful for all you people listening.
What we would like you all to do right now is subscribe to Seizing Valor and like this video and hit the bell icon, because it helps us out in the algorithm. We would love for you to get notifications of when new videos drop. Also, see us on Instagram at Seizing Valor, because we have extra content on there that we would love to see you be a part of. And lastly, we're on Spotify. Please follow us on there. Very important. It's the same exact episodes usually on YouTube, except if there will be exclusive content to be determined. If you have any extra prayer intentions that you would like to keep private, please go to us, seizingvalor@gmail.com. That is seizingvalor@gmail.com. But if you want to keep your comments public or to bash us, please go to YouTube comments or Instagram comments. We'll have a dialogue there. And then we'll probably bring you back to the seizingvalor@gmail.com. Because I can't take criticism.
Nice.
So
Just me. No.
all right, Josh, maybe you want to close us out in prayer?
Sure. Yeah. Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for this time that we just shared together, and for the blessings that you've given us. I just pray as we're moving into this season of Thanksgiving, and this season of giving and remembering all that you've done for us, I pray that we truly reflect and take some time to see your hand in our lives, and for us to just know that you're constantly with us, that you're constantly holding your arms out for us. And I just pray that everyone who's had a rough year or a rough couple of years, I pray that they understand that it's all for your good, as we hear in Romans, right? All things work for the good of those who love him. And oftentimes when we see things that are difficult, that's like the evil in the world and the struggles that we have in our lives, it's always for some greater good that we just can't fathom. But like we stated earlier, just let us understand, Lord, that these things are meant to strengthen us, and that you're never going to give us too much, that too much that we can't handle. And just remind us to, as it says in 1 Peter, to cast our cares upon you, for you love us, for you care for us, and you want to help us in this life and in this world. So I pray that we can lay all burdens at the foot of your cross, as we gaze upon your redeeming love, and just wash us clean, and just remind us that we're loved, because Satan oftentimes wants to ruin us and isolate us, and when we're isolated, then he can ruin us. But I just pray that we always remember that we have people who love us and who care, and that are there for us to open up to, and to just pray for the courage to do that. Thank you for this time, and be with us these coming weeks as we celebrate you and all that you've done. It's precious and holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, there you go.
Thank you all for attending. We will see you all next week.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Or it'll be
Thanksgiving.
over by then, but I hope you had a good one.
Happy December.
Happy Advent. Almost.